Okay, so yesterday and last week we learned how to represent the value of decimals through the thousands place using expanded notation and numerals. And yesterday we practiced reading and writing decimals to the thousands place using word form, standard form, and expanded form with expanded notation. Today I can compare and order two decimals to the thousands place. That is our I can for today. So the goal of this lesson is to learn how to compare and order decimals all the way to the thousandth place. Does anybody have a question about that goal? Does everybody feel good about that? Awesome. It's a super easy lesson, right? It's really, really easy because I know you guys know a lot about money and I know you know a lot about numbers, so it really isn't that difficult of a lesson. It's more of a review. So we're going to practice comparing and ordering decimals to the thousandth place, alright? So in your journal, you glued in this interactive notebook paper. Alright, everybody glued in this page, correct?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so you can see it. Alright, so with your pencil, we are going to fill in the blanks and then we'll practice it, okay? So to compare decimals. The first thing is it says align the numbers on the blank. So align, what does align mean? Anybody know what the word align means? Yes, sir.
To put together.
Put together, okay. And anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
To align it,
Keep it in order. Okay, that's something else. Anybody else? Something different? Align, another word for align means like to line them up. Okay? So how do you think we should line up when we're ordering and comparing decimals? Line them up on the what? What do you think?
to line them up least to greatest.
Well, before we do that, before we do least to greatest, what should we, when we look at decimals, do they always have the same amount of numbers on them? No, so what's the one way we can keep them in or like lined up? Line them up by what? What do you think? Yes, sir?
Keep the decimals.
There you go, the decimal. So we're going to line numbers up by the decimal. So we'll take all the decimals and we'll line those decimals up. Okay? We'll line all those decimals up. And then if we have any empty spaces, what should we do with empty spaces that won't change the value of the number? We don't want to change the value. Isel?
With ones.
Do we put ones in there? Will that change the value? Remember, we don't want to change the value. What's the one digit that we write that never changes the value in decimals?
0.
A 0. Very good. So we'll fill the empty places values with a 0. Okay? We want to fill the empty spaces with a 0. Okay? So then, when we have those numbers, we start with the greatest place. The greatest place. The greatest place value. Now, is that far to the right or far to the left? All the way to the left. Because as the number line moves to the left, what happens to the number?
It gets bigger.
It gets larger, right? So we always want to start with the greatest value, the furthest to the left, right? Okay? And then we move which way? What do you think? Can we go to the left anymore? There's no more, if we're at the greatest digit? So which way do we have to move?
Right.
We have to move to the right. So we move right until you find a blank digit. What do you think? Until we find a digit that is what? What do you think?
Great.
What do you think, sir?
Less than.
Less than? Okay, maybe less than. But what if the number is, what if I find a digit that's greater than? What do the two digits have to be in order for me to compare them? What do you think?
Different.
Different, yeah. We're going to find a different digit. We're going to find a different digit. Okay? Then we're going to compare those numbers using that digit or that digit place. Alright? So, let's talk about what all that means, right? Pretty simple. Really, really simple. So, let's say I have some decimals. I'm only going to do 4, right? So go ahead over here to the right and put 4 decimal places on the lines for me. I'm going to choose a different color, hope it'll stand out. Okay, is everybody ready? Alright, let's try this. First digit is 2 whole and 113 thousandths. Okay?
Okay.
Second digit I want you to put is 2 whole and 1/10. The next number I want you to write is 2 whole and 13 hundredths. And the last digit I want you to write is 200, 2 and 311 thousandths. So far so good? Do I have 4 numbers? Yes. Are the digits different? Some of them are, right? Are some the same?
Yes.
Okay. So I was going to ask you to put these numbers in order from greatest to least. Okay? So from greatest to least. So this is what I want you to do. Right here, we're going to write greatest, an arrow to least. And that means from big to small. Alright? So if I look at my rules, the rules that you just wrote in that box, the first step says to do what?
Align the decimals.
Very good. Are my decimals aligned?
Yes.
Yes, all my decimals are in a straight line. I could draw a line through them, and the line would be very, very straight, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So my decimals are aligned. Check. Step 2. All together. Step 2. Yeah, fill empty spaces with 0. Do you see any empty spaces? What is the greatest number of places behind the decimal in my biggest number? 1, 2, 3, right? But this one only has how many digits behind the decimal? So how many zeros do I need?
2.
I need 2 zeros. Good. Do you see another digit that's missing?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Behind which digit?
3.
What goes here?
0.
A 0. Now, do all my numbers have the same digits? The same number of digits? Yeah, we're in good shape. Now, it's a piece of cake to compare them, right? Because my next step says start where?
The greatest.
The greatest place value. Which digit is the greatest place value in these numbers? What's the greatest place value? What place is it? What's the place value? What do you think? Yes, yes, sir. What place value is the greatest?
The last one.
And what place is this?
1.
The ones place, right? So if I start with the ones place, they are all what?
The same.
The same. So can I compare them right now?
No.
No. If I compare them right now, they'd all be what? Equal. And are these numbers equal?
No.
Absolutely not, right? So now I go to the next digit. The next digit is in what place is this, class?
10.
The 10th place. Now look at the 10th place. Are they all the same?
No.
No. Is one bigger than the rest?
Yes.
Yeah, so if this digit is bigger than the rest, then this whole number is also bigger than the rest. So what is the largest number in that list of numbers? Which is the greatest number? How do I say that number? Yes, sir. Close. Okay. This is in the tenths, hundredths, thousandths. I say this number, 2 and 311 thousandths. So I write that number right here. 2 and 311 thousandths and put a comma. That is my largest number. Would you agree?
Yes.
Alright, so far so good, yes? Okay, now let's move on to the next digit, the next biggest number. The rest of them are all in the ones, aren't they?
Yeah.
So I gotta move to the right, to the hundredth place. Do you see a digit that is larger than the others?
Yes.
Which digit?
3.
3. So then this whole number is next. 2 and do I now? Oh, I like that. Someone said 130 thousandths. I like that. Do I have to say the 0? No, because I added a 0 just to make them look the same. When I put them in order, do I have to write the 0?
No.
I don't have to because the 0 doesn't change the value, right? So I took the 0 away. I have 2 and 13 what? Hundredths. So I have 2 and 13 hundredths. Good. Lucky for us, the other 2 digits in that same place value are also different, aren't they?
Yeah.
So which one's the next biggest digit?
Two.
The next biggest digit in this row, this column.
One.
The 1. That's my next number. And how do I write that digit? How do I say that? 2 and
113,000.
very good. 2 and 113 thousandths. Excellent job, guys. That's perfect. So that means my smallest number is the only one that I have left, right? Now, again, do I have to say these hundreds?
No.
These 2 zeros? No. I just have to say 2 and 1/10. Very good. I heard someone say it. 2 and 1/10. I like it. Okay. Now, someone always asks, Mr. Herring, what if I write the answers with the zeros? Will you count off? Absolutely not. I won't count off because it doesn't change the value. However, you need to be careful because on tests, the state of Texas is really good about trying to trick you, so they won't put the zeros on there. So you have to be able to recognize if I add the zeros to make them look the same, I take the zeros away after I'm done lining them up so I know the exact answer. Does that make sense? Okay, so take away these 2's for a second. Just look at these 3 numbers. Couldn't you compare those 3 numbers without actually looking at them? Which is the biggest number? 311, right? What's the next biggest number? 130. And then? That's essentially what we did, isn't it? All right? But we have to be able to recognize and read those decimal places. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, I like that. All right. So now what we're going to do a quick practice on the left side, really, really fast. On the left side, I'm going to give you, we're going to do one practice problem, and then I'm going to let you, we're going to start extra math, and I'm going to let you work on your in-class work, and what we don't finish in class will be for homework. Okay? So on the left side over here, I want you to put these decimals in order from greatest to least. Okay? Everybody ready?
Mm-hmm.
Alright, here's your first one. I want you to write them just like I write them. And then we're going to practice the strategy. Alright? So 4 and 100. Put a comma. 5 and 16 hundredths. 4 and 221 thousandths. And 4 and 21 thousandths. Right, those 4 digits. We're going to do greatest to least first. Okay? So I'm going to write the letters G to L, which stands for? Which means big number to?
Small.
Okay, now looking at your notes. Look at your notes page. What does step 1 say, class?
Align the numbers on the decimals.
Okay, so how many numbers do I have here?
4.
So how many decimals should I make?
4.
4 decimals. So everyone put 4 decimals right here. Okay? And now we're just going to copy these 4 numbers in these places, not in any order yet. We're just going to copy them. Okay? So the first number is 4.01. So I'll write 4.01. The next decimal is 5.16. 5.16. 4.22. 4.22. And 4.021.
Wait, but why did you put the 1 right there?
Because that's the 3rd digit.
No, like, right. You forgot the 422. 1.
Oh, I forgot that one?
Yeah.
There you go. Sorry about that. What's step 2 say in my notes? What goes in empty places? 0. So put 0 in the 2 empty places so they all have the same digits. Same number of digits. And then start which way? At the what digit place? The greatest place, right? And this number, which is the greatest place value?
The 5.
The 1 is the greatest place value right here. What's the biggest number in this list?
5.
The 5. So 5 is going to be my biggest number. So I'll write here 5 and 160 thousandths or 16 hundredths. So far so good? Question? Okay. So now I move along to the 10th place, which is the greatest number in the 10th place. A 0, a 2, a 1, or a 0?
2.
The 2. So this then must be my next biggest digit number. 4 and 221 thousandths. Good, good, good. And I can stay right there because I see some digits that are different still. I've got a 0 and a 0. Can I compare those two? No. So what do I need to do now?
Go to
The next place value, which is the
100.
hundredths. I got a 2 and a 1. Which one's bigger?
2.
The 2. So this digit, this number is next. 4 and 21 thousandths. Which leaves me with the last number, 4 and 100th. Or 10 thousandths. Does everybody understand that?
Yes, sir.
Not too terrible, right? Not too terrible. It's just a matter of practicing the steps, okay? There's a reason we put these steps in our journal, right? I want you guys to use those notes. Those notes are the easiest notes I found to help me remember how to put decimals in order. Now, I will tell you, there's some steps here. It's a lot of work at first, a lot of writing. But once you get comfortable, once you get this step here, once you get to this step, you guys are going to learn to just do it. The 5 is biggest, and then compare these last 3 numbers. 21, 221, and 10. Which one's biggest? 221, and then 21, and then 10. You'll get to that point. But in the beginning, if you go through these steps and make it a habit, it will be really, really easy for you later on. Okay? Does anybody have any questions? You sure? Alright, so today we learned how to compare and order decimals. Compare and order decimals using a 4-step process with numbers to the thousandths place. Alright? So what we're going to do now is we are going to practice with the paper you got off the teacher's back table. We're going to do 1 through 14 in class. We're going to work on it in class, and I'm going to call a small group up here to talk about it. I'm going to get 2 groups started on extra math. I want you guys over there start extra math first, and when they're done, they'll come to you guys. Everybody else is working on that paper. Okay? 1 through 14.
I need to tell you something. I mastered the whole thing on extra